said Berry. "Well," replied Ola, "I've lost my cousin." "How will I recognize her?" asked Berry. "I suppose she might look a bit like me." "Well, I'll keep my eyes open for her," said Berry before he continued up the lane. But he hadn't gone far when he came face to face with Vi. "I wish I could find my cousin." "I've just been talking to her," replied Berry, feeling very pleased he was able to help. "Are you sure?" "Positive," exclaimed Berry. "Come with me." And Vi followed Berry excitedly. Then she saw Ola. "But that's my sister," she exclaimed. "You said you were looking for your cousin," cried Berry. "I think you're teasing me." Then he quickly hurried on his way. So the twins began their search again. Unfortunately, Vi and Ola weren't having much luck, but they were determined to find their cousin Pansy. "Wait for me here," said Ola, "and I'll just see if there's anyone over there that might know Pansy." And no sooner had Ola turned into the field when Butterbur came hurrying by. "Can I have a word?" asked Ola. "Another time," said Butterbur. "I'm late." And he continued on his way. But when he saw Vi, he stopped abruptly. "I've just seen you over there," he cried. "How can I be over there when I'm here?" answered Vi. "You were over there," insisted Butterbur. "Am I seeing double?" "No, we're twins." "Oh, thank goodness for that," laughed Butterbur. "At least there's nothing wrong with my eyesight. Anyway, Moustache, I've got an appointment." "Don't go," pleaded Vi. "We want you to help us find Pansy, our long-lost cousin." "Well, I'd like to help, but I can't stop. I've got a date with Delphinium and her friend." So Vi and Ola were still no closer to finding their cousin Pansy. "Oh, there you are, Butterbur," said Delphinium. "I'd like you to meet Pansy." "Pansy?" stammered Butterbur. "I know someone, I mean some two, who are looking for you." "For me?" "Yes," exclaimed Butterbur. "Your cousins." "I'll go and get them." "I don't think I have any," called Pansy. But Butterbur was so excited he'd already rushed off to fetch the twins, leaving Delphinium and Pansy wondering what on earth he was talking about. But they soon found out when Butterbur returned with Vi and Ola. "At last we've found you," exclaimed Vi. "You're our long-lost cousin." "But I can't be," declared Pansy. "I live in a garden with all my relations, and I'd soon know if I'd lost any of them." "And anyway," pointed out Delphinium, "all Pansy's family are called the Violas." "Well, that explains it all," cried Butterbur. "She's Vi, and she's Ola, Viola." And they soon discovered that Pansy's grandparents had lived in the wild countryside. But when they moved into the gardens, they had lost touch with their country cousins. "I can hardly believe what's going on up there," exclaimed Pampers. "It's alive with creatures." "Well, it is an oak tree, and they're well known for being homes to animals and birds," explained Rosebay. Pampers was impressed. "I'd love to grow an oak tree." "Well, you can," replied Rosebay. "But first you've got to find an acorn, because that's its seed." "What's it look like?" asked Pampers. "I'll try and find one," said Rosebay hopefully. "If the squirrels have left any. It's a long time since the autumn when the acorns fall." But the squirrels had eaten them all. "What a shame." "What's that?" "A squirrel," whispered Rosebay. with an acorn. Oh, just missed my head. Where did it go? There it is, pointed Rosebay excitedly. So this is an acorn. Thanks, little squirrel. And now, explained Rosebay, you must place it in a moist spot on the ground. Then it will split open and a tiny green shoot will sprout up. But the squirrels might find it, replied Pampus. Not if you hide it in amongst the grass. Then I know just the place, declared Pampus. I'll go and grow my oak tree now. Thanks, Rosebay. Very soon, Pampus had placed his acorn in a nice damp spot. So, all I've got to do now is wait for my acorn to grow into a big oak tree. But after waiting for ages, there was no sign of an oak tree coming from the little acorn. Oh, I must have placed it upside down, said Pampus. I'll just turn it round. And again he waited. But Pampus began to get impatient. I had no idea it would take so long to grow, he moaned. I think I'll have a little sleep while I wait. So Pampus closed his eyes. Meanwhile, Rosebay had met Cornflower, who was expressing her concern about Pampus. He's been in the same spot for ages and ages, she said. Well, he did go off to plant an acorn, replied Rosebay. Oh, no, don't say he's waiting for it to grow into a big tree. He'll be there for years. Come on, Cornflower, you'd better show me where he is. After a little while, Pampus opened his eyes, and to his amazement, he saw a tree. It's worked! At last my acorn's grown. Oh, Pampus, didn't you know that acorns took ages to grow into oak trees? Cried Rosebay. They don't. Look, mine's growing already. It's impossible, exclaimed Cornflower. Trees don't grow that quick. But my oak did, smiled Pampus proudly. But this isn't an oak tree, remarked Rosebay. It's another kind of tree. Pampus was confused. But I don't understand, he stuttered. Well, that tree's been there for ages, said Cornflower. You just hadn't noticed it. But I wanted an oak tree so much, cried Pampus. Hey, what's that? It came from over there. It's my acorn, exclaimed Pampus. It's burst its sides. Look, it's becoming a tree. Oh, but my acorn's over there. This is a different one, said Rosebay. A squirrel must have lost it some time ago, and it's only just rooted. But Pampus, it can still be your oak tree, declared Cornflower. Good. And when my acorn grows over there, I'll have two. But how long before they're fully grown? He asked. Years and years, answered Rosebay. But Pampus was still happy, for he knew that one day his oak trees would grow tall, just like the big oak tree he'd seen earlier that day, and become homes for all the animals and birds. All the Windfall scenes and characters have been created from real grasses, leaves and flowers. In summertime, bramble shrub becomes very overgrown, giving lots of shelter for birds and animals. It's Berry's favourite time of year. I'm lucky to live here, said Berry. It's tatty and scruffy, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Just then, Berry heard footsteps. It was Pampus. Enjoying the summer? Asked Berry. I might if I was on holiday, said Pampus. But you came on holiday from town to visit Delphinium, Berry reminded him. True, but I'd like a change, grumbled Pampus. Well, why not stay here, suggested Berry. Have a holiday with me. Oh, great, said Pampus. But how do I explain to Delphinium? Oh, don't worry, said Berry. I'll go and tell her. Meanwhile, make yourself at home. Won't be long. See you soon. Pampus looked around Bramble Shrub. Then an idea came to him. I know, I'll tidy it up and surprise Berry when he gets back. So he set to work untangling Bramble Shrub. Meanwhile, Berry had explained to Delphinium about Pampus. Of course I don't mind, she said. It'll make a change for him to be amongst all the wildlife in Bramble Shrub. Yes, and at this time of year, it's very wild, agreed Berry. I'll go and tell him it's all right with you. Back at Bramble Shrub, there were great changes going on. Pampus had got rid of all the thorny bushes and began to admire the results of his hard work. Berry will be pleased. I can't wait for him to see it. I think I'll go and meet him. I've got a surprise for you, cried Pampus. Oh, I love surprises, said Berry. What is it? Just close your eyes and come with me. Now, exclaimed Pampus, open your eyes. Well, what do you think of that? Asked Pampus excitedly. But Berry said nothing. He just stared. Just a small gesture, Berry, to say thank you. Thank you, Berry. But you've ruined my home, stammered Berry. And the homes of all the small animals and birds who lived in Bramble Shrub. Well, it was so overgrown and untidy, cried Pampus. But that was how we like it. You're just not fit to live in the country, Pampus. You should go back to your town. Oh, no, I can't, cried Pampus. Not in the middle of a storm. I'm scared of thunder. Can I please stay and shelter? There is no shelter now, cried Berry. You've just got rid of it all. Although this shower could make it grow back again. And Berry was right. The summer rain soon made Bramble Shrub grow wild and tangled again. But Pampus was sad. Well, goodbye, Berry. Now the rain's stopped, I suppose you'll be wanting me to go. Pampus, called Berry. What about your summer holiday? Come on back. I'll show you how we live in Bramble Shrub. Oh, thanks, Berry. Thanks. So Pampus learned one of the first lessons of the countryside. Birds and animals can make their homes in the most unlikely places. This marsh, like any other marsh, may be soggy and wet to live in, But for Butterbur, it is ideal. I have a lovely, comfortable home, he said, but I don't often have any visitors. I know why. It's because I forget to invite anyone. Berry, I'd like to invite you to my marsh. Sorry, but, well, your marsh is so damp, replied Berry. Why don't you come to my place instead? Well, it's not the same, cried Butterbur. I don't want to be a visitor. I want to be a host. Presently, Butterbur met Rose Bay. You're invited to my marsh this afternoon, said Butterbur. You're very kind, replied Rose Bay, but I'd rather not. What's wrong with my marsh? Cried Butterbur. Well, I don't want to get my feet wet, said Rose Bay plainly. Butterbur was very hurt. Well, I like it. But you're used to the damp, remarked Rose Bay. You live there. Never mind, cried Butterbur. I'll just invite someone else. Come to Burnt Heath instead, called Rose Bay. It's very dry. Oh, Delphinium, cried Butterbur nervously. I'd like you, could I, well, what I'm trying to say is, I request the pleasure of your company this afternoon on my marsh. What a lovely treat, exclaimed Delphinium. I've never been to a marsh before. See you at 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock precisely, Butterbur was all ready to receive his guest. Hello-y! Welcome to my home. Let me show you around. Oh, I wasn't expecting it to be so damp, remarked Delphinium. But marshes are always damp, exclaimed Butterbur. Forgive me, said Delphinium, but I couldn't possibly get my feet any wetter. I'll just have to cancel my visit. I'm sure you understand. I hope you haven't gone to too much trouble. We'll meet another day. In my garden. Bye. So it seemed that Butterbur would never have any visitors, and all because they were worried about getting their feet wet. Then he noticed something. You don't have to worry about getting your feet wet, said Butterbur. Hopping from one stone to another keeps them dry. Hey, that's a terrific idea. I know. I'll do exactly the same. I'll make stepping stones. Then my visitors will have dry feet. Oh. When Butterbur had finished, he was so tired he fell asleep. Look, exclaimed Berry, we can go and see Butterbur without getting our feet wet. Let's go and pay him a visit, suggested Rose Bay. Wake up! You've got visitors, cried Berry. Come on, Butterbur. Time to wake up. Oh, why is it I only get visitors in my dreams when I'm asleep? But you're awake, said Rose Bay. Am I? Replied Butterbur. Yes, I am. But I thought the marsh was too soggy for you. It was, agreed Rose Bay. But not now you've got stepping stones. Oh, so they've worked. But I can't take all the credit. Look. The frog gave me the idea, hopping from stone to stone. Good old frog. Butterbur, cried Rose Bay, you've got another visitor. It was Delphinium, and Butterbur was so happy because his stepping stones meant that his friends could now visit him in his soggy marsh. All the Windfall scenes and characters have been created from real grasses, leaves and flowers. At the end of summer, not many wild flowers grow, but bright red toadstools do. "What a fantastic toadstool!" exclaimed Rosebay. "Yes, but it's very poisonous," warned Berry, "so we mustn't touch it." "But it's still nice to look at," remarked Rosebay. "I wonder if there are any more around." "We'll find out," said Berry. "Let's go and look over there." But they couldn't find any more red toadstools anywhere. "I think we're out of luck," sighed Berry. "The one we saw just now must be the only one in the wood." "Well, let's go back and have another look at it," suggested Rosebay. But to their amazement, it had gone. "It can't just disappear," cried Rosebay, "unless someone picked it." And just then, Fern came along. "Hello," she said. "I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces today. First Pampus, and now you." "Did you say Pampus?" asked Rosebay. "Yes, I saw him a moment ago," replied Fern. Berry and Rosebay began to panic. "Whatever's wrong?" asked Fern. "A red toadstool was there earlier, and now it's gone," cried Berry. "And you said you saw Pampus." "That's right." "Well, he must have eaten it," continued Rosebay. "It's the only explanation." "But toadstools are poisonous," exclaimed Fern. "Exactly," said Berry. "And Pampus probably doesn't know that. We must find him quickly." "I'll search the wood," called Fern. "No, I've not seen Pampus since this morning," said Delphinium. "Haven't set eyes upon him all day," declared Uncle Onion. "Sorry," said Cornflower. "I can't help." "Oh, Berry and Rosebay were at their wits' end. They couldn't find Pampus anywhere. "What are we going to do?" asked Berry. "Here's Butterbur," said Rosebay. "Maybe he's seen him. Butterbur, have you seen Pampus?" "Well?" insisted Berry. "I'm thinking." "Then think faster." "What was the question again?" asked Butterbur. "Have you seen Pampus?" repeated Berry. "Forget." "You forgot?" "No, forget. Forget-me-not field. That's where I saw him," cried Butterbur. "Thank goodness," cried Rosebay. "Was he all right?" "Didn't ask him," replied Butterbur. "His eyes were shut." "Oh, no!" exclaimed Berry. "He must have eaten the toadstool." "It's all right," said Rosebay gently. "We're here." "What's all the fuss about?" yawned Pampus. "You shouldn't have eaten the toadstool," cried Berry. "I didn't. Toadstools are poisonous," exclaimed Pampus. "That's one thing I do know about the countryside." So Berry and Rosebay's worries were over. But they were still very puzzled. "What's wrong?" asked Pampus. "There's still a mystery about a missing toadstool," said Berry. "There's no mystery," exclaimed Pampus. "I wanted a seat, so what could be better than a nice, comfortable toadstool? See, I brought it here to sit on." Berry and Rosebay laughed and laughed with relief. Pampus was fit and well, and the mystery of the poisonous toadstool was solved. Pampas is feeling down in the dumps today, and Butterbur is trying to find out why. I'm homesick, exclaimed Pampas. Oh dear, is it catching? No, said Pampas. It just means that I'm missing my old home in the town. Well, perhaps you've been here on holiday for too long, suggested Butterbur. Yes, I think you're right, declared Pampas. I'm sad, but it's time for me to leave. It didn't take long for Butterbur to spread the word that Pampas was homesick and had decided to leave Windfall Land. Well, let's give him a good send-off, said Rosebay. Butterbur and Berry agreed, and they started to make plans. Meanwhile, Pampas was telling Delphinium. Are you sure you know the way? Yeah, it's easy. I'll go back the way I came, Pampas said confidently. Well, we shall miss you, Pampas. Come and see us again soon. I'll try, replied Pampas, but it's a long way from my town garden. And with a wave, he set off to say goodbye to his other friends. I've come to say goodbye, said Pampas. And this is our way of wishing you a happy journey, exclaimed Rosebay. Are you sure you know the way to town? Asked Butterbur. Yeah, declared Pampas again. It's easy. I pass the 2 green trees on the hill, on through the green shady wood, cut through the green leafy lane until I come to the pavement. Safe journey, Pampas, said Butterbur. Thanks. It's been nice knowing you all, smiled Pampas. Well, goodbye. Now, the 2 green trees should be somewhere around here, thought Pampas. But I can't see them. I can see those 2 red trees, he thought. Maybe I made a mistake about the colour. So Pampas passed the red trees and headed for the green shady wood. But all he could see was a brown wood. Oh dear, I've got the colour wrong again. And as Pampas walked through the wood, he began to worry, and he hoped he would soon see the green leafy lane. But he didn't. The lane was a brilliant gold. Oh, help, said Pampas. It's not the same as I thought. The countryside has changed. And Pampas sat down and pondered. He was already missing his friends in Windfall Land. By now, Pampas will be nearly back in his town garden, said Berry. And we'll never see him again, sighed Butterbur. Pampas! Well, you see, I got lost, exclaimed Pampas. The green trees, the green shady wood, and the green leafy lanes weren't there. Everything's changed. It can't have, said Berry. It has, insisted Pampas. The trees were red, the wood was brown, and the lane was gold. The others burst out laughing. That's because the summer has gone and autumn's here, explained Rosebay. And in the autumn, continued Berry, the countryside changes colour. Well, I must say it was so beautiful, exclaimed Pampas, that I'm even more homesick. Well, why did you come back? Interrupted Butterbur. That's what I'm trying to tell you, cried Pampas. I'm now even more homesick for Windfall Land than my town garden. Oh, Pampas, you're impossible. Does that mean you're staying? Asked Butterbur excitedly. And as Pampas looked around and admired the colours of the countryside in autumn, he had no doubts at all, and told his friends he was definitely going to stay. All the Windfall scenes and characters have been created from real grasses, leaves and flowers. Burnt Heath is where Rose Bay lives. She's away on holiday at the moment, so these strangers will be disappointed not to see her. Or will they? Hey, this is a nice place, declared Couchgrass to his brother, Twitchgrass. Let's move in. Well, it's not up to our usual standard. I know, but I'm sure we'll grow to like it. All right, agreed Twitch. We'll stay. Hey, look, we've got our first visitor. Anyone would think you lived here, said Berry. We do, said the brothers. We've just moved in. But Rose Bay lives here, cried Berry, and I'm looking after it while she's away. We'll save you the trouble, won't we, Twitch? Yes, we'll keep it in order. Berry was fuming. But you can't stay here. Rose Bay would never allow it. Oh, I'm sure she won't mind, said Cooch. She'll be home very soon. And if you're still here, I shall be in trouble, so please go. Sorry, said Twitch. We've made our plans. We're staying. Berry knew he could do nothing on his own, so he hurried for some help. Butterbur! Butterbur! Where are you? But Butterbur was not around. Oh, Rose Bay will be back soon. What shall I do? He cried. Oh, whatever is the matter, Berry? Asked Uncle Onion. There are trespassers on Burnt Heath. Oh, dear. And Rose Bay's away. And she left me in charge, Berry exclaimed. Well, who are these trespassers? Asked Uncle Onion. I think they're called Cooch and Twitch. Cooch and Twitch? Exclaimed Uncle Onion. They're rascals, and well known for taking over. You'll have a job getting rid of them. But what can I do? Cried Berry. Rose Bay will be home soon. We'll have to move fast. Let's go. Meanwhile, the trespassers were making themselves at home. Hi, we've got visitors again, remarked Twitch. You're trespassing, panted Uncle Onion. Burnt Heath is Rose Bay's home. So we'll share it with her, said Twitch. We're not that bad. Anyway, why the fuss? Cried Cooch. We're used to much bigger places than this. Suddenly, Uncle Onion had an idea. You said you're used to bigger places. You bet we are. Well, I happen to know of somewhere enormous, said Uncle Onion. But, of course, if you like it here, come on, Berry. Wait a minute, shouted Twitch. Where is this enormous place? The same direction as that bird is flying. You mean if we follow that bird, we'll find it? Cried Cooch. You certainly will. Come on, Twitch, let's go and settle in somewhere bigger. That was so easy, said Berry. Where have you sent them? Oh, the bird they're following, chuckled Uncle Onion, is a seagull. So they're going to the seaside. And that's a very big place. Oh, that was clever, laughed Berry. Look, here's Rose Bay. We got rid of them just in time. Did you have a good holiday? Asked Berry. I did, but I'm glad to be home, said Rose Bay. And thanks, Berry, for looking after it. I knew I could trust you. Well, it wasn't easy, admitted Berry. And Berry told Rose Bay how Uncle Onion got rid of the troublesome pair with the habit of moving in where they're not welcome. When autumn is over, the winter begins. It's just started in Windfall Land, and Butterbur and Pampus don't like it. I'm fed up, grumbled Butterbur. There's nothing to do in the winter, hardly anyone about, and it's cold. Yes, sighed Pampus. It's very boring. Just look at all those bare trees. Not a green one in sight. There are some green trees, said Butterbur, if you know where to find them. Well, we've got nothing to do, so let's go. I hope I can remember the way, exclaimed Butterbur. So the pair of them went off in search of the evergreen trees. Oh. 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 There aren't any green trees in the winter, complained Pampus. It's a waste of time. Hey, what's that? Over there. It's a hedgehog, whispered Butterbur. He's hibernating. Hibernating? It means sleeping away the winter. Why don't we do it? We can try, but it's not in our nature, said Butterbur. Well, if we close our eyes and count up to 10, it might work. All right, let's start counting now. See you in the spring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, what are you two doing on this lovely winter's day? Asked the stranger. Don't wake us up, groaned Pampus. We don't like the winter. We're hibernating. Don't like the winter? It's the most magical time of year. There's nothing magical about this place. It's boring. For me, it's not. My name's Ivy. Come with me, and I'll show you what a wonderful time winter is. So Butterbur and Pampus reluctantly followed Ivy through the snow. Until suddenly, they came into what seemed like an enchanted forest. This must be a dream, whispered Pampus. It's all so magical. It's not a dream, Pampus, exclaimed Butterbur. Now I remember, this is what I wanted to show you. These are the evergreens. They stay green all year round. And now, announced Ivy, I'll introduce you to my friend Holly. She leads our winter festivities. Happy to meet you. I won't shake hands, as you might find me rather prickly, laughed Holly. We're very happy to be here, exclaimed Pampus. Yes, where I come from in the marsh, said Butterbur, everything is so dreary. And in my garden, there's nothing growing at all, added Pampus. Well, spend the day with us, said Ivy, and we can all celebrate winter together. So Pampus and Butterbur discovered the magic of winter. And because it was a very special day, stayed with their new friends, Holly and Ivy, until the moon peeped through the tops of the evergreen trees. All the Windfall scenes and characters have been created from real grasses, leaves and flowers.